A little hygiene is not such a bad thing. As a start, decent haircut, What do women look for? Depends on the wisdom of the woman, obviously. Well, it does, because young women are more likely to fall for narcissistic psychopaths. And the reason for that is they can't tell them from competent men. Because narcissistic psychopaths imitate competence, and that's their niche. And so they have a confidence that isn't justified by their ability. But the women check out the confidence as a marker of ability, and the falsely confident can fool them, especially if they're young and naive. So let's say you're not going to be a narcissistic psychopath, which is often what those manosphere dating sites teach you, is like, wear an expensive watch and peacock a bit. And to peacock is to wear something, some item of clothing that's, a little bit out of the ordinary, something a little bit more colorful. But mostly it's just training in a kind of deceptive narcissism. Now, a wallflower guy might benefit from some training in narcissistic psychopathy, just to sort of balance them out a bit.
Well, in that case, you got no right to wear New Balance sneakers ever. Come on.
That's why people like Andrew Tate are so popular. And I'm not saying that in an entirely dismissive manner, but generally what women want is something like confident, productive generosity, fundamentally. And so, if that's allied with physical attractiveness and a sense of humor and, the sorts of features that a man would also look for in a woman, so much the better. But first of all, no one likes young men. So if women don't like you, it's like, well, that's par for the course. Who likes young men? No one. Why? Well, they're basically troublesome and useless. And so that's why. So cross-culturally, women like men who are about 4 years older than them. But then, you got to understand that if you make yourself competent and productive and generous and a little bit socially skilled and reasonably clean, eventually, you'll fool someone. And so that's the thing, is don't be a fool. Turn yourself into someone who's worth being around. And I would also like to point out, if I offered everything I could to a partner, who would I be? You work on that. Ask that question, just ask. I have to be willing to delay gratification. So you dance with a woman. It's like, what's she doing? What are you two doing? Well, it's a pattern. There's patterns happening around you. That's the music. Patterns of being. That's the music. Now, can you align yourself with the patterns of being gracefully? That's what she's checking out. Then can you do that with her? And then can you do that in a playful and attentive manner? And keep your bloody hands to yourself for at least a minute. And so, can you dance in a playful manner? It's like, you can go through this in your imagination. And you'll know. And then you think, well, how far am I from those things? And the answer is horrible abyss separating you from that ideal. But the harder you work on offering other people what they need and want, the more people will line up to play with you. And then you think, well, if I do that, people will just take advantage of me. And that's the non-naive objection, right? Because the naive person thinks, well, I'll be good and everyone will treat me right. It's like the cynic says, no, I'll be good and someone will take me out. And then you think, well, what do you do about that objection? And the answer is, well, you factor that in. And that's why you're supposed to be as soft as a dove and as wise as a serpent. It's like, I know you're full of snakes. I know it. Maybe I know it more than you do, but we'll play anyways.